Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. We have some breaking news for you in the Idaho versus Kohberger case. The case summary page, which had been missing in action for a little while, now is back onto the court docket. There's actually an entry on the court docket which says case summary. And if you click on that, it will bring you to the case summary page. Now, what is this? This is a document that has been maintained since the beginning of the case by the clerk of court to document all of the key events in the case. We have posted on our YouTube channel's community page today, page 1. It says there Ada County District Court. Now, this is different from when the case summary page was initially established because it would have said Latah County. That's where the case was opened, and it would have had a different case number. But for purposes of the current case summary page, at the very top, you see Ada County, case summary, the case number, State of Idaho, plaintiff versus Brian C. Kohberger, defendant, and then under the case information, the various offenses, the 5 felonies that Mr. Kohberger was charged with by operation of a Latah County indictment back in May of 2023. And then statistical closures on July 23rd, 2025, the notation that the case was closed. That was the day that Mr. Kohberger was sentenced and sent off to prison. Now, if you go a little bit further down, this is what you will see throughout the rest. It's 57 pages in total. Very top, date, events, and orders of the court. And the way that you read this, all dated December 29th, 2022, new case, criminal, and then the 4 items, although they're a little bit out of order here. You see here criminal complaint first, then probable cause order, and then affidavit, Exhibit A, and then warrant issued for the arrest. Really, the first document that was entered in the case was the affidavit that was signed by Detective Brett Payne of December 29th, 2022, because it was that document that asked for a warrant for Mr. Kohberger's arrest that was referenced in the criminal complaint, which would have been the second, and that was filed by Bill Thompson, Latah County prosecutor, asking for the warrant to be issued. And then it went to the first judge in the case, Megan E. Marshall, who found probable cause, and therefore you see the probable cause order, and then issued the warrant for Mr. Kohberger's arrest. All of this happened December 29th, 2022. When you see an icon, like the little lock and key that you see here on page number 1, that tells you the document is under seal, as opposed to a PDF icon, which tells you that it is a public record. However, for these items on page number 1, although they were initially filed under seal, they are public records. You can read them on the court docket at the very beginning of the case. You have to go to Latah County in order to do so. It is an interesting exercise just to become refamiliarized with what happened during this case in a way by looking at the case summary page. I say in a way because last year, at one point, this case summary page was well over 100 pages. It suddenly, without explanation, got slimmed down to about half its size or more, and it's never been reestablished. Right now, up to page 57. That's the last page of the current case summary page. But if you look at page 57, it is a completely blank page. So if you want to see what's happened most recently in the case, go to page 56. You'll see most of the items on here are PDF iconed next to them, advising you that you should be able to see these documents on the court docket because they are public records. For example, March 19th, 2026, State's motion to amend order of restitution. And there's several more filings going into April regarding restitution. And then there is May 26th, under seal, a subject document motion to redact or seal. And this was the second supplemental response to the court's third order regarding sealed documents and motion to seal. What this relates to is Judge Hippler had announced last year, July of 2025 specifically, during a hearing when the Media Coalition had come in with 2 tasks. They filed a motion to set aside the non-dissemination, aka gag order, that had been in place from day 4 of the case. It was submitted as a stipulation prepared by defense counsel, who went to the prosecutor and said, will you join me? Let's submit this stipulation for this gag order. And Judge Marshall signed it day 4 of the case. It was in place. There were a couple of amendments to it, but it was not set aside until the media came into the case after change of plea and requested that Judge Stephen J. Hippler set aside that gag order. He did, and that is the only reason why you saw such things. As after sentencing on July 23rd, there was a big press conference that was held right in the Ada County Courthouse by the prosecutor, and there were several members of the prosecution team there, attorneys. You saw Brett Payne for the first time, believed to be that he has ever spoken in this case. He stood up there along with ISP Detective Gilbertson and spoke about such things as this never seen by the public interrogation video of Mr. Kohberger that was videotaped, and it was also audio taped by Detective Gilbertson. And there's also supposedly a word-for-word transcript of what happened during this 45 minutes, starting at approximately 2:00 a.m. on the 30th of December, when Mr. Kohberger was taken to the barracks of the Pennsylvania State Police, and he was led into a room, and there was an interview that was conducted. Again, the public has never seen it. It is one of the first things that has been requested by EWU Media in the case that is being prosecuted right now, EWU versus Moscow Police Department. So we're going to find out shortly if Judge Marshall's going to order those items to be released or not as a part of that lawsuit. But getting back to this case summary page, if you were to look at the rest of this document, you see this third order, second supplemental response to court's third order regarding sealed documents. What's that? Well, at that July hearing that I just spoke about, where the media came in, the second mission that they had was to try to convince Judge Hippler at that time to unseal this highly sealed case. And Judge Hippler denied that motion right from the bench. It wasn't even set for hearing that day. Only the hearing on the motion to set aside the gag order was. But Judge Hippler said, denying that, and he described a process where he would be submitting court orders to both sides and giving the state and the defense responsible for these very many documents under seal to provide their feedback, their thoughts, their objections or non-objections to unsealing documents. He started from June and July, the very end of the case, and worked backwards. That was the first court order. The second court order dealt with the months of April and May of 2025. And then for some reason, there was a snag that was hit with this third court order that was issued in October of 2025. Both sides gave their reasons as to what should be sealed or unsealed. The defense's statements are filed under seal. It's the first time either of the parties asked to have their responses to these court orders under seal. You can see what the responses were for the state. You can't see the defense. Go to October 30th and 31st of 2025. Then came December 18th. Judge Hippler entered the third order unsealing documents, where he found dozens upon dozens of documents from January, February, and March were to be unsealed to the public. Section A, without any redactions. C, with certain redactions. And almost immediately, the state began filing motions for reconsideration starting in December of 2025. So there was a holdup until February, when one of the documents from that period of the first quarter of 2025 was released by Judge Hippler. And then there were certain other documents that were released a few weeks back. And then yesterday, there was a large document dump from that section, January, February, and March of 2025, including expert witness reports and other matters in limine that were filed regarding text messages and so forth. The fourth court order taking matters into the end of 2024 has not yet been released. So in other words, 6 months ago, Judge Hippler issued the last court order unsealing documents. There's still a few that need to be unsealed, and we're still waiting for this fourth court order. Going back to the case summary page, go through it, you'll see that there's certain items, May 26th, that were filed under seal. This is a second supplemental response. Third order regarding sealed documents and motion to seal. And then we go on July 2nd, the second amended order unsealing, redacting, and or maintaining sealed status of documents. 88 to 79, those are the documents from January, February, and March of 2025. What Judge Hippler did in his first order for the months of June and July, whatever the first one was, or June, was document number 1, 2, 3, 4. He continued that numerical system into the second order, and then finally by the third order, it came up to documents 88 to 179. So the next document in the list, which should take us to the end of 2024, would logically appear to be document number 180. The very last item on this document, sealed order regarding redactions. That is under seal. That is dated July 2nd, 2025. And if you look at the very bottom of the case summary page on the right-hand side, July 9th, 2026 at 9:42 a.m. That tells you the last time that the case summary page has been updated. So it appears it was updated today. It was put on the court docket, and we will continue to keep you posted as further developments arise. Until next time, this is Kathy. Thank you for joining us here today.